All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're demystifying exactly how your solar inverter transforms raw battery power into usable electricity. If you've ever stood in front of your solar setup and just listened to that low hum, you know it's doing some really heavy lifting. But to most of us, it's kind of just a silent metal box sitting on a wall.
So what is actually happening inside that metal box? Well, rather than just memorizing a dry list of complex electronic parts, we're going to decode the specific journey of a single watt of energy as it travels through your system. We are going to break down the actual electronics that make this incredible daily conversion possible step by step.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering opening the black box, the DC input stages, generating the AC output, system protection and cooling, and finally, inverter safety and risks.
Section 1. Opening the black box. Let's start by laying down the foundational purpose of this critical piece of hardware.
Here's the deal. Your solar batteries store direct current, or DC, but the vast majority of your home appliances, like your refrigerator, your TV, your lights, they need alternating current, or AC, to actually function. Your solar inverter is the specific device engineered to convert that low-voltage DC power into usable AC power.
I absolutely love this quote. The inverter acts as a translator between those two electrical worlds. It perfectly illustrates why we can't just plug a toaster directly into a battery bank, right? They literally don't speak the same language. We need a sophisticated translator.
Now check out the math here. Power equals voltage times current. This simple equation dictates the physical design of the entire system. Because of this relationship, pulling heavy power from a 12-volt battery requires massive, incredibly high current, compared to a 48-volt setup. That's exactly why those lower voltage systems need cables as thick as your thumb. If you don't use them, things are going to melt, or worse, catch fire.
But you've got to remember, no inverter is 100% efficient. It's just a physical impossibility. During that translation from DC to AC, some energy is lost. And here's the kicker. Every single bit of that lost electrical energy is converted directly into heat. That thermal reality becomes the absolute enemy of the system and dictates how the entire inverter is built.
Let's look at our map and see how this builds a sequential journey. Power enters through the DC input, moves into the capacitor bank, hits the critical MOSFET switching stage, and finally exits as AC output.
Which brings us to Section 2, the DC input stages. We are beginning our chronological journey right where those thick battery cables physically bolt into the unit.
Every single watt has to get past this first defensive gate, which is designed to stabilize the raw incoming electrical supply. Before the power touches the highly sensitive electronics deeper inside, it passes through input filtering, surge suppression, and initial protection circuitry. Think of it as the bouncer at the door, making sure only clean, stable power gets inside.
Just past the input, we hit the temporary energy reservoirs known as the capacitor bank. Think of capacitors as shock absorbers for your electrical system. They store up small amounts of energy to help smooth out voltage fluctuations, and they supply really short, rapid bursts of current during heavy switching events, so the whole system doesn't just crash under the pressure.
Moving on to Section 3, generating the AC output. Now we reach the absolute heart of the machine, the core electronics, where the real conversion magic happens.
All right, meet the MOSFETs. These are highly advanced electronic switches. They don't move mechanically, but they're lightning-fast switching, literally turning the DC power on and off thousands of times every single second, way faster than the blink of an eye, creates the foundation for the AC power your home needs. Make no mistake, if this MOSFET stage fries, your inverter is completely dead.
But wait, how did those switches know exactly when to fire? Well, think of the driver's circuit as the traffic controller. Without a conductor directing the precise timing of those MOSFETs, the switches would overlap, crash into each other, and destroy the inverter instantly. It sends incredibly precise timing signals to ensure every switch operates in perfect harmony.
From there, the voltage needs to be stepped up. And here we see two major design philosophies. Low-frequency models use massive, heavy transformers. They're super rugged and offer fantastic high surge capacity for starting heavy motors. High-frequency units, on the flip side, use electronic conversion stages. That makes them significantly smaller, lighter, and more efficient. But you do lose some of that extreme surge tolerance. It's a classic engineering trade-off.
Next up, the AC waveform has to be shaped. If you're running sensitive electronics, notice the pure sine wave on the right. A modified sine wave is this simple, blocky signal that can actually cause modern motors to buzz or run dangerously hot. You really want a pure sine wave. It perfectly mimics the smooth electricity you'd get straight from the utility grid.
Right before the power finally leaves the box and heads to your electrical panel, it passes through this final filter. This ensures your appliances receive incredibly clean power. The filter smooths out any remaining harshness from that rapid MOSFET switching and strips away all the unwanted electrical noise.
Section 4. System Protection and Cooling. Having successfully transformed the power from DC to AC, we've got to look at the internal systems designed to keep our electrical translator from basically self-destructing.
This right here is the monitoring board, essentially the nervous system of the inverter. It is constantly checking for overloads, over-temperature events, short circuits, and voltage spikes or drops. Honestly, if your inverter randomly shuts down, don't get mad. It is highly likely this vigilant protection board doing exactly what it was designed to do to save your equipment from catastrophic damage. It'll shut the whole system off before a minor fault becomes a fire.
And remember those efficiency losses and the resulting heat we talked about earlier? This vital cooling trio works constantly to remove that dangerous waste heat. Massive heat sinks absorb the thermal energy right off the MOSFETs, while temperature sensors tell the cooling fans exactly when to kick on and blow that hot air out of the case. Without this constant airflow, the lifespan of these components just plummets. Section 5. Inverter Safety and Risks. Now that we've really looked under the hood at the internal architecture, we need to address the real-world hazards you might encounter.
It's critical to understand that most of the failures homeowners actually deal with originate from thermal stress or electrical overloads, heavily stressing those switching devices. High current can melt improperly sized cables, blocked cooling vents will suffocate the heat sinks, killing the inverter, and continuously overloading the system, that's just going to slowly degrade the MOSFETs and capacitors until they finally snap. Now, this is perhaps the absolute most important safety takeaway of all. Never, ever assume an inverter is safe simply because it's switched off. Remember those capacitor shock absorbers we discussed? Yeah, they can remain heavily charged with massive amounts of dangerous electrical energy long after you flip the off switch or disconnect the battery. Always follow manufacturer procedures, and please, never just pop the casing open.
So I want to leave you with this question to think about. Look at your own setup, check out the ventilation around it, the thickness of your cables, which internal section of your inverter is under the most stress right now. I really hope this explainer helps you evaluate your system, maintain proper airflow, and truly appreciate the incredibly complex, hard work happening thousands of times a second inside that silent metal box. Keep learning and keep those systems safe.